All right. Welcome to the very first episode of our podcast, What's Possible. My name is Gavin Witham.
My name is Yuliana Galindo.
And this is basically our very first episode of our podcast. Now, we're calling this podcast What's Possible. And we're going to dive in today to what that means, what we're going to be doing, who we are, and everything like that, because we have a lot. We have a lot of stories.
A lot of good stuff.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff. But yeah, so basically we are starting this podcast. We are we're students. We're 19-year-olds, right?
About.
She's 18, but I'm 19. We're getting there.
We're getting there.
So we're young people, right? And basically to introduce this episode, we have come from small towns, right? Like you're from a small town. I'm from tiny towns.
At least compared to Kansas City.
Yeah, so we're based in Kansas City. We live in Kansas City for college and stuff like that. So we're kind of going through a culture shock and going through a lot of learning. But yeah, basically, I came from a very small town in Kansas. I don't want to disclose that town because I don't know people on the internet. And then you've come from a small town in Missouri.
Yeah, I come from a small town from the Missouri side.
Yes.
So I've always joked that if I was from a district from the Hunger Games, I'd be from District 8 because it's literally just factories.
No, I understand that completely. In my small town, we had a meat packing plant. That place smelled bad.
Yeah.
That's how I imagine the Hunger Games would smell.
Yeah, my town, it's there's 3 or 4 factories and people just work there and they just work there and they work there and then they don't leave.
No,
so.
that's exactly how my small town is. But basically all of this to say is that we come from very normal, very rural backgrounds.
Not cities.
Not cities at all. And we basically, what we're trying to do is, we come from that small place, not any place of note, any notable area, right? But we're trying to make a name for ourselves by doing stuff and putting ourselves out there, for example, through this podcast, right?
Exactly.
So essentially what this podcast is going to be is we want to showcase young people chasing their dreams.
Pretty much that. It's not really meant to be a step-by-step tutorial of this is what you do to get here. It's more we want to show what people are doing to get to their dream goals.
Exactly.
And hoping that people find inspiration in that. And I think I definitely would find inspiration in that. I think I do. I watch a lot of podcasts.
Yeah.
So definitely the hardest part is always just starting.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
The hardest part.
So essentially what we're trying to say is instead of interviewing somebody who's top dog, CEO, right? And we're having them on and they're giving us what they did, their plan, how to make it, what to do, step-by-step plan. Instead of doing that, we want this podcast, What's Possible, to act more like a guide instead of a plan, right? We want it to be a guide of instead of you come here to find exactly what to do, you come to this podcast to listen and see what other people your age and see what other people who are going through similar experiences as you, what they're doing and how they're overcoming obstacles and how they're starting out, right? Yeah. So we don't want it to be a plan. We want it to be a guide, literally what I've said. We want it to be a guide. We don't want you to come in here thinking you're going to get every single little bit of knowledge to learn, but we want you to come in here to think that you're going to see a story that could inspire you or show you the next step. Does that make sense?
Yeah, these are all people who have once felt stuck or uncertain or unmotivated and just needed that push to pursue their dreams.
Exactly.
Pretty much it.
But basically, if you're, you the listener, if you're listening and you think, well, I know what I want to do with my life, but I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it or what I'm going to do or what that first step is going to be. This is the place that you come just to see what other people are doing and figure out how you could go about it, or even if you don't know what you want to do at all, how you can find inspiration and see what other people are doing, whether that's something creative or something business, anything like that.
It's people that share your interests. We want to be able to have enough people on here eventually that people can just find, oh, I'm interested in this, let me watch this episode.
Exactly.
And then maybe that turns into what their dreams are.
Yes, exactly.
They have someone that they relate to and they're wait, they're in my same position. Mm-hmm. They were once like me, if they can do it, I can do it.
Exactly. Okay.
It's just that.
So let's get into how this whole thing kind of came about, right? Yes. Because it's got a long history, little bit.
Long history.
Very long, longer than I would have liked. And let me explain. So essentially what happened was back in September of 2023, so that's like almost 2 years ago at this point, I had started this podcast, the whole concept of what's possible, interviewing young people, right? And I had done one episode with a guest that I absolutely adored. Like, he was great. Honestly, if he's listening, I'm going to go ahead and issue a formal apology for doing one episode and then not doing anything after that. Because low-key, that was awkward. I feel bad. But anyway, we are on to new stuff. But no, what I'm trying to say is, yeah, back in the day, September 2023, I tried to start this podcast. And what I found when I did this was I absolutely loved doing it, right? Like, I loved connecting with other people and figuring out who I was going to interview and setting it all up and doing all the editing and everything like that. But what I found was it was just me. It was just me doing that. And it was so hard to stay consistent when it was just me doing that. You know what I mean? Like, when you just have one person that relies for you for the editing, for the writing, for the producing, for the finding of like guests, all of that stuff.
Literally one man show. Mm-hmm. You're doing absolutely everything.
Exactly. And like, when you're just one person doing that, it's hard to be motivated to do the second episode.
It's hard to keep up with it. It's hard to find the motivation to get up every day and try to brainstorm ideas and then produce it and then find the people you want to talk to and then write the episode outlines and then film it and then edit it. So there's a lot that goes on behind, which is my favorite stuff is what goes on behind the scenes.
Exactly. And so basically, like, coming from a small town, there wasn't a ton of people who wanted to do that type of stuff. I mean, there was a few, people, but like nobody who I could find that exactly wanted to be involved with this specific thing. So then I come to college and I'm like, okay, this is the perfect time to get this thing going again, get it figured out, get it rebooted. And then I met you.
Yeah. So flash forward around August, September 2024. I'm a film and media arts major. He's a media art and design. Yes. So they're like same department, just slightly different, but we take a lot of the first like intro classes.
Yeah.
So I am in this art class. I'm terrified. Terrified.
No, me
Never
too.
been in a building where everything's Apple. Like, this is a culture shock for me because I'm from a small town. Not anything like this.
Like, there was a lot of high quality equipment.
Yeah,
in
it was
the
nice.
classrooms that we were working in.
So we meet through our art class, and then we find out that we also have our film class together. And pretty much we kind of become friends. It's pretty natural. We become friends, and he asked me about podcasts, and then he asked if I would be interested in joining his podcast. And I remember thinking, yes. Like, I always dreamed of becoming a YouTuber, but I just didn't think I was interesting enough. But I've always loved like entertainment, like YouTube, TikTok, podcasts, literally anything you can think of. I love it. Yep. So I was like, yes, like I want to work on it. And I actually had a lot of ideas to contribute.
Oh,
so
yeah, big time.
We went to Chipotle.
Yeah, we had a little Chipotle date, which was interesting.
We went to Chipotle and just like brainstormed ideas and kind of talked about what we both kind of were seeing as a vision for the podcast.
We basically talked about like our own interests and like where I was coming from and see how you connected with that of connecting young people. Cause I mean, that's the whole point of this, but, no, basically like what I initially really liked about you, like when I was trying to, cause I kind of had this in the back of my mind. I was like, okay, when I come to college, I want to find somebody who can do this other stuff. When I was talking to you and you were talking to me about film stuff, film producing, I was like, oh my gosh, you want to be a producer? That's like the perfect thing that I need to. So like in a creative partnership, there's like two things, right? You need somebody who's like the creative, the editor, that type of role, you know what I'm saying? And then you need the person who's the business guy, kind of the producer,
keeps everything in track,
keeps it in check, scheduling, all that stuff.
Yes.
And when you said that, I was like, okay, this could be perfect. We could develop and find our skills through doing this podcast. Like, you said you had an interest in producing. Yeah. I have an interest in editing and doing all this stuff. That's why when I met you, I was like, okay, this could be perfect.
Yes. And I think it works. So that was always my downfall. Is I don't lore drop. I had an editing account when I was in middle school, but
like TikTok editing,
like OG like Instagram edits.
Oh, Instagram edits.
OG Instagram edits. Dang. But that always took up a lot of time. So like I remember I tried to like edit videos and I just really could not do it. But I liked everything else of it. I liked coming up with the ideas.
Yeah.
But then actually editing it, I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't do this.
Yeah, no, like essentially like we both have a very common goal of like we want to connect young people and have a space for young people. We're very passionate about that together. But then on both sides, she's passionate about like, okay, how are we going to create this thing? Who are we going to have on? How are we going to get this message across? And then I'm more so about like how are we going to present this message? What's it going to look like? What's the story behind it? You know what I mean? Like,
it's very easy to bounce ideas off of each other, and we normally come to a pretty good consensus, and like we both genuinely like what the other brings to the table.
Yes, yeah.
Like it's always pretty good ideas.
And so like basically when we came together, we had like a very fresh perspective for this podcast and like a new way to go about it. So I think meeting you and being able to like have just like this connection at college was a huge thing to get this podcast.
Because I feel like we were both very much in the same boat. I remember I was like, oh my God, like what if I make no friends in this class?
No, I mean, that's exactly how I felt too. It was like, I was scared. Yeah. And I think that's honestly, first semester, I had a lot of struggle making friends. Like I still honestly don't even know that many people. Like I know you. Yeah. Like I know a couple people, but like not enough to like, do much. But anyway, I think that's also kind of helped fuel this podcast even just that much more. You know what I mean? Because we have
very similar interests. Like we actually get along very well. We actually talk about a lot of the same stuff, and we like a lot of the same stuff. Interests.
But like I think, going through that struggle of trying to find the person to get on this podcast with me and trying to make friends and trying to figure out, find connections at college, I think that's helped fuel my passion behind this project even more, because I'm like, okay, I'm struggling to find that. Yeah. That must mean a lot of other people are too. So let's do something. And this is us literally doing that thing. Like, we're not going to see the immediate effects of it right now. We're recording one episode. Yeah. We're doing one intro, but
like, literally the hardest part is just starting, and then everything will just kind of fall into place. So after we kind of talked about our first episode, we finally found someone that we do want to interview that wants to be interviewed. Yeah. And we had a whole conversation with him, whole brainstorming conversation, just literally wrote down everything. Yeah, no, interviewed him and just wrote down everything.
We're in the works with getting our first couple guests on and finding people who we think are really going to be able to connect with other people, connect to young people and get a good message across. But let's talk a little bit about like that first episode, because basically before we were here doing this exact episode, we had a little bit of a history together of trying to get our first episode out. Do you want to dive into that, or do you want me to dive into that?
I can kind of start.
Okay, go ahead.
So pretty much this has been in the works for months. Podcast, it goes back a year, but us together has been months and months in the making.
It's longer than it feels like. Yeah. I mean, we've known each other for
probably like since the beginning of the year.
Like that's like almost 4 or 5 months, right?
Coming around 6, yeah.
Yeah, almost 6 months.
We met pretty early, actually.
Yeah, so this thing has been in the works for about 6 months, and we were trying to get a first episode out. You know what I mean? And we were trying to like find a guest and figure out how we were going to collaborate together. Yeah. I don't want to say lots of meetings, but there were a couple meetings where we were trying to figure all this stuff out and flesh it out. Yeah. But yeah, you can keep going with it.
Yeah, and pretty much life just happened, and pretty much before we knew it, midterms came up, and then before we knew it, finals came up, and then before we knew it, break came up, and then we just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. Yeah. But we are finally now here recording our first episode, and pretty much we just want to show that we have also been stuck. Yeah, we have also been stuck trying to get this started.
You're seeing us. Sorry, go ahead.
No.
You're seeing us now, like recording this episode, and you might be thinking, like, "Wow, like they've got this set up. They've got these microphones.
They've got it together.
Yeah, like they've got these cameras, like everything. Yeah, we do. We've got all this stuff, but like, number one, it's not just us. Like this is a community effort almost just to get to this point, right? Like we're in our local library recording this episode. And
exactly that.
So like all of that to say like, it takes a proper community and a proper area for you to be able to get to start your dreams. You know what I mean? So if you feel stuck and if you feel like you don't even know where to go, it might be you need to start looking at your community and finding your community, even if that means finding your community online.
And that also means just putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
And that's like terrifying, but no, like you just kind of have to just go.
Exactly. So you might have like this passion in the back of your mind. Let's say you want to start a bakery business, right? And you're like, okay, what is that first step? What is that first step? Okay, you might think, all right, I need like a business plan, or I need to start learning how to bake a cupcake or something like that. Something like that, right?
Yeah.
But I would say that like the number one first step before you even get to what you want to do or how you're going to do it is look at your community, look at the people around you, look at who you can collaborate with, look at what you have available to you where you're at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's very important to see where you are and figure out what little hidden gems you can find. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if this sounds weird, but like you were a hidden gem.
No, literally.
Here. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I was like trying to meet people, trying to talk to people with this in the back of my mind of, okay, I want to start this project. And it was so hard to find that hidden gem. And then there you were in that class, and we took time to develop our relationship. We hung out a little bit. We did, certain things that helped us get closer to each other to then be able to feel comfortable to
talk about doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was not like planned, not at all. I did not become friends with them thinking I'm gonna start a podcast with this guy. Like,
yeah, it was very just a natural friendship because we were in class together.
Yeah, we're in the same classes. We have similar interests, like, and it just kind of fell into place.
Yeah, honestly, it really started by asking those questions. Like, I mean, think about it. Like, how weird is it if I go up to a stranger, like, say you're a stranger, and I go up to you and I'm like, want to start a podcast?
I'd be like, hello.
Like what? Like what do you mean? No, so it starts from like building those relationships initially is what I would say. Okay, so you might be wondering like what's going to be exactly in it for you after this first episode, right? Like you're listening to us tell our story and stuff, but like what are you going to get out of this in future episodes? Well, basically what the structure of this podcast and this format is going to be is it's going to be a conversational style, just kind of how we're doing now. Like we're just kind of chatting away.
Yeah, very casual, not too interviewee.
Yeah, I mean, but we are going to have guests on where we talk to them and we ask them, again, like we've been saying, about their journey, about their story, about where they're headed.
Yeah.
So every episode, it's going to be a different guest and just we're going to catch up with them and see what they're doing. That's essentially what the first episode is going to, or the
episodes
structure.
To come.
Yes, the episodes to come are going to be. And we're going to explore like a wide range of people. So
the goal definitely is to have a bunch of different career paths and a bunch of different people's journeys in different careers. Because everything is actually very different. Yeah. Like a nursing career, drastically different from like a business, or entrepreneurship, like and then musician, and then like social media, like entertainment. Like everything is so different. And I really want people to be able to find episodes that they relate to, because I definitely do that with podcasts. I definitely will scroll until I see something that interests me. I'm like, okay, well, I want to watch it and see what they have to say about this interest of mine.
Exactly. And also another big thing about this podcast, if you're like a creative person, let's say you're an artist or you're trying to become like an animator, right? Like let's say you're an animator and we make an episode about like somebody who wants to be a surgeon eventually or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I think within those episodes, I think there's still going to be value for everybody, even somebody who's on the opposite side of the spectrum. Like if you're an animator versus watching an episode about a surgeon, I think there's going to be value to watching all of these kinds of episodes because there's value to every single dream that somebody has, right?
And I think people like seeing other people's journeys. At least I don't know, maybe not, but I like seeing a lot of people's journeys and how they get to their goals. And I think it is like inspirational to see like how surgeons get there, how doctors get there. And it's also interesting to see how people in the entertainment business get there, like
exactly.
people in music.
There's so much to be learned from each other, even if you're in a different industry or you're wanting to go into a totally opposite industry. You know what I mean? Like there's always some sort of nugget of information, or again, going back to like finding those gems. Yeah. Like there's so many things to be learned from so many different types of people. So let's say you're an animator, you can still learn a work ethic from somebody who wants to become a doctor. You know what I mean? There's something for everybody in all of these kinds of episodes. So,
and advice does not have to be too niche. It can be very broad. Like you can kind of pin advice on anything. Like you can twist it to fit your career path, and you can twist it to fit a different person's career path. Yeah. But I think that's definitely the goal of the podcast, is to definitely get enough people on here eventually that there's something for everyone, just for everyone to find inspiration in other people's journeys. Yeah. I just want people to be able to click on an episode and know that they will get something out of it.
Exactly. But so all of this to say, we just have a few pieces of like advice for you guys, I would say. Like if you're out there and you're wanting to start something, I would say the 3 big things that I wrote down when you're trying to start something is, number 1, ideas need time to incubate. Like, again, like we've been saying, this whole thing did not happen overnight. We did not just randomly
It's
decide.
been marinating.
Yeah,
No,
like,
it's been sitting.
Yeah, we did not just find this random. Okay, well, we kind of did, but like it took a lot of looking to find a room with this type of equipment, or like a place that was willing to offer us.
Yeah, and then it took a lot for us to learn how to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Trust, these mics did not. These mics do not look like this.
Yeah, about an hour before this recording, we were actually struggling to set everything up. But it's all about just starting, actually. I think that's one of the biggest things I've also learned is while ideas do take time to incubate, they're not going to be cooking if you're not doing it. Like, you might not necessarily be doing the exact steps to get you somewhere, but as long as you're doing something, your ideas will be able to cook. Like, I don't know how else to put it, but you know what I'm saying?
Exactly that. Yeah, starting has always been a really hard thing for me. I think we both had a bit of a fear of it failing.
Yeah,
or just falling through. Not even like, it was just like it's just like a fear, you know, whenever you're starting something new, you're just like, what if it doesn't work?
I totally agree.
You kind of won't know until you try it.
You don't know until you just get into it.
You just have to go.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I also had a fear of like, I don't know how to put this exactly, but I had a fear of like, oh my gosh, what if we end up not meshing? You know what I mean? I was like, that was kind of a fear of mine too. Like, just to be totally candid, like I was like, okay, what if we can't mesh on the podcast? What if we do all this setup for just it not to work
flat
out? Exactly.
Yeah.
But then, like, again, going back to that other idea of you gotta water the ground that's around you. You got to put time and effort into what is around you in order to get anywhere at all. And so I think just by us continuing to work on it, continuing to figure out how each other likes to work and likes to set things up, right?
Yes.
Like, that's how we got to where we're at. So
yeah, no, definitely staying consistent.
Yeah.
After starting, everything kind of falls into place. If you stay consistent, like, you're getting closer and closer and closer to your goals, and you're going to find more motivation because it's going to start to pay off, and you're going to be like, wow, no, this is something that's actually like happening. It's actually encouraging people, and you're going to want to keep doing it. So really, just starting is literally the hardest part.
And putting yourself out there, whether that means putting yourself out there online, putting yourself out there to potential people you want to work with by emailing or messaging them or anything like that, or just putting yourself out there to your community, you know, making connections with people around you. That's what we're trying to say, is that's the most important step to getting started, is what I would say. Yeah, and definitely with us being in like a media field, very competitive. It's very hard to kind of break into, but once you break into it, you're kind of good once you get into it. True. But breaking into it, for us, kind of knowing the basics is just not enough. Knowing how to use Adobe Photoshop or Premiere Pro, or knowing how to, I don't know, just knowing how to produce a film, like, that's not enough. You actually have to go out and do it. We are creative majors. We're in design, we're in film, everything like that. And we're doing great work. We're learning a lot from our professors in all of our classes, but we want to take what we're learning and, again, put ourselves out there. And get ourselves not known, but like just get ourselves connected. You know what I'm saying? And so this is like our step of doing that. Doing this podcast is what we're trying. By doing this podcast, we're trying to accomplish just that. So. I mean, I hope as we continue to do more and more episodes and we evolve and all right, that's a perfect example I was about to say. We get to talking better, and we, as our production just goes up and our output goes up, we just hope that you guys follow along with us and get to grow alongside us, you know? Because it's just, everything is one big journey, right? Like, we're growing with this, we're getting better quality, we're figuring other things out, and we hope that as we're doing this, you guys can follow along with just exactly like that. Yeah, and everyone has different ways of also progressing to their goals. So I think it's interesting showing, being able to have an outlet that shows our progression, because definitely, like, I know we had a lot of ideas for this, and we knew that just wasn't going to happen for the first episode. But I think it'll be fun. Make a lot of sacrifices and compromises. Yeah, but I think it'll definitely be fun to look back and be like, oh, like, we're starting to see it get better quality, better background, better mics, better setup. Like let's say even like 5 or 10 episodes in, like somewhere around there, like we're going to watch back this first episode and we're going to be like, dang, we could not talk, or like, dang, this camera setup was bad, like anything like that. But like, again, that's all part of the journey. Like, that's the fun part. Yes. Like, it might not be fun in the moment. Like, we might have had a frustrating time getting this all together and getting it all set up, but like, when we look back on this, we're going to be like, I'm so happy I took that first step, or I'm so happy that I was able to find that person or connect with this person. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, yeah. And again, I want to, again, further emphasize that this is the place and time. I'm assuming if you're out here watching just like us, you're young, you're in your 20s, you're in your, you're 19, 18, around there, whatever. This is the place and the time, right? Like, you have no better time than now to start.
It's so cliche, but there's literally no time like the present. I
have fallen victim to procrastination countless times. I mean, I'm currently in a cycle where I'm procrastinating, and it's hurting me, not like physically, but you know what I mean? It's like, it's
a lot.
Damaging.
Yeah,
it's like,
it piles up, and then it all crashes down.
Whether that goes for like schoolwork or like anything, like literally anything, you just need to, start and not procrastinate, because you're never going to be this young. You're never going to have this type of connection. You know what I'm saying? So,
and also like take advantage of like what you have around you. Like, we're definitely taking advantage of
the environment,
of using this room.
The people in order to get this room, we had to reach out to our librarian lady and talk to her, and she had to walk us through how to use the equipment and like how to be careful and all of this stuff.
And then we had to reserve the room.
Yeah. I mean,
the next day.
Yeah. So it's all just about that. So the place and the time where you're at, make sure to utilize your environment, utilize those people that are around you, and not even in a way that's like, oh, let me use you to get to the next step. No, like, make a genuine connection.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Networking, like, it's not all just about leveling up and finding this person who's going to get me there and who's going to get me there. It's about finding this person who's going to bring value to my life, and then in turn create valuable output when you go to create something yourself. Yeah. So it's a pretty basic intro episode for you guys listening. We're going to get into a lot more exciting things as we go on. Yeah. But we just wanted to come and introduce ourselves. We wanted to introduce the idea, the why behind this podcast, why we're going out there and finding what's possible. You know what I mean? Like, we want to establish that with you guys so you understand. But yeah, essentially, we're going to be talking to young people like us who are in our position, trying to make something of themselves, and who are trying to make it just in life in general.
Yeah, and so, we're in that exact spot too, because we have no idea where this is going to go. Yeah, no idea whatsoever.
Again, this podcast could last for 10 episodes, and we're going to still get value out of it. You know what I mean? Like, even though it might not be a forever thing, we're like, even doing this is so valuable.
Yeah, so. I don't know. It's just I just want to have an outlet for people.
I want an outlet for myself, and I want other people to have an outlet. And so I think, like, just by having that passion of being like, okay, looking personally, like what do you call that? I don't know, like looking inward, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I wish I had a place where I could go and talk about what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
I wish I had a place I could go and talk to other young people about, here's what I'm trying to do. What are you trying to do? Is there any way that we can overlap or connect? We want this podcast and this place to be a community for young people to come and learn and listen and connect with each other, right? We want this to be a place where you can come and find other people to talk to or reach out somehow or anything,
Yeah, this is definitely something we're both very passionate about. Like, I feel like this is kind of like not like a weird topic, but I feel like this is just something that we both actually genuinely share an interest for, wanting to learn about other people's journeys.
Exactly, especially young people and connecting with people all around us.
So as much as for like, it's for you guys, it's for us, because I love learning about people's journeys and like what they do to achieve their goals and their dreams. And yeah, I think this is a cool opportunity for us to be able to meet all different types of people with different backgrounds, different interests, different goals.
Yeah, as much as it is for you guys to listen and learn and connect with other people, it's just double as that almost for us to connect with people and make friends and figure out who we want to be and like who we want to surround ourselves with, you know what I mean, and who we want to connect with. I mean, that's essentially the whole reason behind this. So.
And then we also want just to be able to create a space, because definitely recently, like with our generation, we just definitely haven't had as many like third spaces. Like those just don't really exist anymore for like young adults to go somewhere free that you can just kind of get to know people your age. Like we want to create that for you guys, because it doesn't really exist anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really a thing anymore. And the unfortunate thing is yes, we are creating the space, but it is on the internet, which can be, it's not as cool as an actual third space, but again, that's just us taking this first step. Who knows where this could go and who knows how this could connect. I mean, this is more so a resource to be able to create those third spaces in the long run. So,
yeah. No, for sure.
Other than that, I mean, I think we've basically covered everything. We've talked a lot about what we want this podcast to be.
Yes.
We've tried to get across to you guys all the value you're going to get out of it and everything that we're going to be getting up to in these later episodes. So anything else you want to say for this first episode, or first ever episode?
No, just that this is just the beginning, hopefully.
It is.
Hopefully
it's
just the beginning.
Yeah. You know, it could last however, like we were saying, it could last however long. But we know everybody's going to get value out of it some way, one form or another. So we want to thank you guys so much for listening to our very first episode of What's Possible. And we just want to tell you guys, we're so excited to continue this journey, and we hope you guys follow along with us.
Very.
Yeah, we have so much planned. I mean, I can already tell there's so much growth to experience for us. Like,
we have
right now.
So many ideas.
Yeah, we have so many ideas.
We're just bouncing off of each other.
We have so many skills that I can tell we're just going to improve as we keep making episodes. So we hope that you guys out there can grow along with us and be with us through our journey as you're experiencing your own
this is
journey.
as much our journey as it is your guys' journey.
Exactly. So next episode, we are going to be diving in with another person who is pursuing their dreams and actually talking to them again, just this conversational style, chatting it up with them, finding out what they're doing, and seeing all the amazing stuff that they're up to. So if you guys want to follow along with us, grow with us, we encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And also, we really want you guys to leave feedback in whatever form that is. So if
we really want to know what you guys want to listen to. Exactly. As much as we have all these ideas, we want to know what you guys are actually going to listen to.
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, leave a comment, like reach out to us, email us, anything like that. We want to hear from you guys. We want to be connected. We want to find those people who are just like us. So other than that, I just want to thank everybody for listening to this first episode of What's Possible, and we will see you guys in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye. All right. I think that's good.
That was good.
Yeah.
No, I like that.